Hey y'all, happy Sunday and welcome to this week's live Q&A session. This is the portion of the show where we allow YouTube to send out notifications that we're going live. If you're watching this live Q&A on replay, please scrub ahead until this graphic disappears and the actual show begins. If you're watching live and you have any comments or questions, please go ahead and put them in the live chat. But for now, grab a beverage, sit back, and relax while the countdown timer does its thing. Then we'll get started. Aloha, happy Sunday. Hey y'all, all that other good greeting stuff. Yeah, the day after St. Valentine's Day, for those who choose to partake, hope everybody had a good one. Hope everybody made that someone special feel appreciated and loved. And for those of you who don't, hope you got some good shop time in over the course of the weekend. Today's going to be a little bit different, not much, but a little bit, in that we had an excellent suggestion from a viewer, 8th Center, last week, asking about importing SketchUp files. And this is exactly the kind of thing I beg for at the end of every one of these live streams when I ask for your comments and suggestions. I get my topic ideas from you, and that only works if you let me know what you want to see. So thank you, 8th Center, for the suggestion. This is the kind of thing I like. I truly appreciate it. And we're going to get into importing SketchUp files into VCarve and Aspire. But first, I wanted to say hello, thank you, and give a shout out to Steve over at Harneil Media. Now, you hear this every week, and you hear it every week for a reason. Steve at Harneil Media is the absolute boss, the final boss. If you are even thinking about or toying with the idea of going out on your own with a side business or a full-time business, you owe it to yourself to get a hold of Harneil Media and explore a website of your own. It's extremely affordable. Steve is very competitive, and he will treat you right. And the number one way he will treat you right is with 100% personal service. When you talk with Harneil Media, you're talking with Steve. You're not talking to some nameless, faceless person in a call center somewhere that's going to treat you like a number. He's going to treat you like a person, and he's going to treat you like you're important because he knows and understands that you are. So if you're ready to take control of your business, be it a side hustle or the way you put food on your table, you owe it to yourself to go over to Harneil Media. There's a link in the description of this live stream and every other live stream and video on this channel. And it's that way for a reason. Get over there to harneilmedia.com, click that Contact Us link, and shoot Steve a message. Let him know what you want. Do you want a web store? Do you want a blog? Do you want to build up a portfolio of the products or services that you offer? Past projects, completed contracts? He can do it. He can take care of you. He'll do as much or as little as you like. You owe it to yourself to head over to harneilmedia.com, hit that Contact Us link, and shoot him a message. Steve, from me to you, person to person, thank you very much for everything you do. I truly appreciate everything you do now and everything you've done in the past. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. This is going to be a little bit different in that we're going to bounce back and forth between some softwares. And this is, let's go ahead and just get into the software here. We're going to go zip over to VCarve Pro. Now, a few things were changed mainly under the hood and behind the scenes when version 12 came out. And some other things under the hood were tidied up in version 12.5. But it's worth going through. What we're looking at is an SKP file. Now, an SKP file, I'm going to switch over to SketchUp, is the native file format for SketchUp. And for this, I'm using SketchUp Make 2017. But this works the same way in all versions of SketchUp so far, every version I've tried. What I have here, this example is a little craftsman style side table designed by Gustav Stickley. I've been a fan of Stickley's work forever. I've liked his craftsman style. And in fact, the way I learned how to use SketchUp was years ago. My wife bought me a book, this book right here, and I've already put a link down in the description. It's Making Authentic Craftsman Furniture, Instructions and Plans for 62 Projects. And all of these were designs taken from his monthly magazine called The Craftsman, which ran from 1901 to 1916. If you look for The Craftsman magazine, you can find every single issue in PDF format online. At least you could a few years ago. I downloaded them. I have them. It's good reading, especially if you like craftsman style, both furniture and homes, and just articles about the craftsman style and the craftsman lifestyle. It's an excellent, excellent, excellent book. The designs, when I say I took this book, I started with one of the simpler projects. I believe it was this side table, in fact. And I went through, and by the end of my journey, I had every project, all 62 projects from this book, drawn up in SketchUp. Because it taught me how to use SketchUp. And this is a preview of what the magazine looks like. Or excuse me, what the book looks like. We'll get past the publisher's notes and everything. There are the all of the projects that are in this book. And this is the type of plans there are. There are no real instructions on tab A goes into slot B. But it will teach you how to take this scale on a ruler and apply it to each piece of all of these projects. And that's exactly what I did. I went through, took that scale, measured these pieces. So they're all listed up here too. Like the legs, you need 4 of them. They're 15 inches long, 2 inches wide, 2 inches thick. But it showed where, for instance, these tenons went. Let me see if I can. Now that's not going to magnify it. It showed where these tenons, how long the tenons were, how wide they were. It showed where the mortises went. You had to measure up and figure out where to put that mortise. All of this in each project. And that was how it was done. The whole thing. By the time I got to the last project, I was pretty good with Google, at that time, Google SketchUp. So, again, whoops, I went ahead and minimized them all. Again, this is a small side table, whoops, designed by Gustav Stickley, and I don't remember what year. And I decided that I wanted to import that into VCarve Pro to see how difficult it would be to cut out all these parts out of sheet goods, basically. Some of these may be sheet goods. Things like the legs are going to have to be glue-ups, but that's okay. But how to import this into VCarve Pro to let the CNC cut them out. The CNC doesn't need to cut out most of this stuff, but it's useful in placing these mortises correctly so that they're all uniform. So we'll go ahead and we're going to go into VCarve Pro. Now what I've got here is I've got a single-sided job. The width is 48, height is 48. We're looking at a half sheet of plywood here. 3/4 inch material. I'm going to do this the simplest way I can. Z0 material surface for demonstration purposes. I have my XY datum in the center. And for the first demonstration, I'm going to go with very high for my modeling resolution. And I'll click OK. Now, there are two ways to import a SketchUp file into VCarve and Aspire, and they both work the same way. If you have created a model, a part, a component that you want to import, you can import it as a 3D model, or you can import it as a 2D vector. Let me show you what both of these look like. For importing it as a 3D model, it's fairly simple. We'll go up here and we're going to import a component or 3D model. And we'll click on it, and I'm going to go to Documents, SketchUp Drawings, and now I gotta, there we go. It is Stickley 562 side table. So I'm importing this as a 3D model. Now from here we go into the model import screen that we talked about last week. But what I have to look at is exactly how am I going to do this? How am I going to import this model onto a flat sheet of plywood? Well, the answer is I'm not, because that's not what I want to do. I could go ahead and center the model, make sure I got the orientation correct, but that's not going to do me any good. I don't want to import this as a 3D model. The point is, you can do that, but it's going to import the entire piece as a 3D model. It's not going to explode it into various parts. Okay, I'm going to cancel this. And now, because I want to import 2D vectors, I'm going to go back up into Job Setup, and I'm going to drop the modeling resolution down to standard, because I don't need modeling resolution for 2D vectors. Now I'm going to pause right here, and I'm going to go back into SketchUp, and we're going to talk about the SketchUp model itself. The SketchUp model has to be created a certain way. The way it needs to be created is all of these individual pieces of the model have to be separate components. They have to be separate components. It will not work if these are separate components. Or excuse me. These will not work if they're not separate components. Okay, now we have a question from Stubbs' mom. Have you made any videos of how you created the furniture in SketchUp? No, I haven't. I have not. This was done long before I had a CNC router or even knew what a CNC router was. Well, I knew what they were. I did this. I started this when it was still Google SketchUp. Let me see. Let me go to the folder here, and we'll see when this was created. 2010 is when I drew this model. I don't even think I had signed up for YouTube then. I think I started in YouTube in August of 2010. So no, I don't have any videos on this. For videos on how to use SketchUp, I'll go find a link and I'll put it in the pinned comments. The absolute best videos I have ever seen about how to use SketchUp is on Jay Bates, his YouTube channel. But you have to scroll way back. I believe he has all of his videos in a playlist. But years ago, Jay Bates did a series of videos on how to use SketchUp for workshop drawing. And he is absolutely a brilliant designer in SketchUp. But again, it's all about making furniture. So I will go find a link. If he has a playlist, I'll link that playlist. If he doesn't, I'll link his YouTube channel in a pinned comment after we're done live here. So it'll stay up at the top in the comment section. So, but again, each piece needs to be its own component. So, for example, I'm going to look at this, the tabletop. And you can see I've got solid blue lines around it. That indicates that it is a component. So I have that component selected. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go into the entity info. And this is telling me what the component is, what layer it's on. There's only one layer right now. The definition, it's the top. That's what I named it. What material it's showing, it's created out of. I can select a material from the drop-down menus, etc. Or I can edit that color. I can do all kinds. You can edit the style. I can edit whether it produces shadows in the darker areas, etc. Excuse me. But the whole thing is to remember that each piece of this has to be its own separate component. And this is true whether you're using VCarve Pro or Aspire. Dwayne Ruthig, I'm going to give him a shout out. For channel members, you know how to get a hold of Dwayne Ruthig. Dwayne is a brilliant designer with SketchUp. The man has created some absolute technical wonders on SketchUp. I mean, we're talking about a 4-foot-long set of calipers that actually work and are accurate. A vise made of wood. Just long, big old crescent wrenches and things of that nature. A 2-foot-long crescent wrench out of maple. I mean, he just did all kinds of, he has done all kinds of stuff. So channel members, you know how to get a hold of him. All of this is in inches. It's in imperial because that's what I use, 8th center. But it doesn't matter whether you work in imperial or metric. All of the steps are the same. So, okay. So I have my model. It's more or less prepared, but I have my model created. So let's go into VCarve. And we'll get into how to import this into 2D vectors. So from here, we're going to go up to, let's click in, import a bitmap or vectors from a file. So we'll click on that. And now I'm going to go into my SketchUp drawings folder. You can see I've used SketchUp for a lot of things over the years. We're going to go for Stickley. Where are you at? Where are you at? There we go. Stickley side table, 562. And we're going to click open. Now, it's going to bring us into this form here. Excuse me. Man. My wife's fighting a cold, and I think I'm getting it too. So my voice, I sound like somebody stepped on a duck. Please pardon me. So we're going to go into this form here on how to import, how we want it imported. So we're going to look at the layout of the imported data. We're going to choose an exploded flat layout. So what it's going to do is it's going to explode this model and lay all the parts flat. Excuse me. Now we're going to look into part orientation. Now this matters if you have things like rabbets or mortises or dados or even dowel holes in one specific side of the project. What it's going to do if I use auto orient is it's going to put the largest face of these components, for instance, the top. It's going to consider the largest face to be the top. On these mullions here, it's going to put the largest face at the top. Same here, and the same with the legs and all of the skirting involved. Or I can orient by the material. And what that means, if I click on Orient by Material, it's going to ask for the material for the top faces. Now, all of this is based on the material I've selected for it in SketchUp. In this case, it was all white oak because that's all I needed. If I had chosen something else other than this quarter sawn white oak for any of the materials, it would have a longer list in this drop-down menu. Now, right now, what I'm looking at is quarter sawn white oak vertical or horizontal. And what they're talking about is the grain direction. And just about all of this is vertical when it lays things out flat. It can rearrange that, and it knows that that's actually going to be vertical when it spins it around. But if I had these, for instance, all to where the grain ran horizontal, I could select that here, and it would import those faces on top. Okay. I'm going to auto orient for this demonstration. Now, Carrie Casella is asking, do you save the SketchUp file with a special extension? No. It's the native SKP file extension. When you save a SketchUp file, go up here and do a save as, it's going to save it as a SketchUp model, an SKP file. That's it. Now, you can do various versions, but they're all going to be SKP files in SketchUp Make 2017. Now, SketchUp Make is different from Google SketchUp, and the newer versions of SketchUp Make are different as well. In the Pro version, you can export an STL, but in the Make or Free version, you cannot export an STL. There are various add-ons that you can add on to SketchUp, but there are various add-ons, but I don't know if Trimble, the company that now controls SketchUp, I don't know if they've changed that or not. So, Kimberly says, would have been nice to have an exploded diagram next to the finished image, unless I missed it. I used to do that. This one I didn't, because I was still brand new to SketchUp and still new to designing. Like I said, this was 2010 when I made this. I used to do that, but I found it's not necessary. And let's address that real quick. If you do import, or if you do create a finished piece like this, and you decide you want an exploded version of the project, save it to a different layer in SketchUp. And layers in SketchUp work a little bit differently than they do in VCarve or Aspire, but save it on a different layer. And I'll show you why in just a couple of minutes. So we have our parts that are going to be oriented with the largest face as the top face for this demonstration. I want to put a gap between the parts because it's going to explode this model. And it's going to lay out the parts on this sheet. I want a gap of 1 inch between the parts. I can change that, but for this demonstration, I can go with a gap between the parts. Now, here we have 3 views. What this means, I want a flat exploded layout. Or I can do 3 views, which will give me front, top, and side. If you need something that looks like engineered drawings, and I'll show you what that looks like in a few minutes here. Exploded flat layout. If you want 3 views, front, top, and side, you can have that instead of a layout. Okay. 8 Center said something very relevant here a minute ago when he said that SketchUp draws arcs and curves, organic shapes, as a series of segmented lines, and he's absolutely correct. In fact, most CAD programs do, unless you change that. Does 3 views mean 3 copies of each component? No, I'll show you what 3 views. I'll show you what 3 views looks like in a few minutes. Here you can control those segments. Create circles for polygons. Try to fit true circles to approximated SketchUp circles. If you have a circle here in SketchUp, it's going to be a series of connected straight lines. It's going to create circles and replace those straight lines with a circle, or it's going to do the best it can. And refit arcs to boundaries. Try to fit arcs to approximated SketchUp fillets. If you have a curve, let's say a 1-inch radius on a corner, it's going to take that from a series of short straight line segments, and it's going to try to fit an arc to that. Now we get into component and group handling. Group imported parts. This is a choice. I can create a group for each component in the SketchUp model. So when it imports the tabletop, that'll be one group. Each leg will be its own group. Each skirt will be its own group. I don't want it to do that, so I'm going to uncheck that. I just want clean vectors. Keep components starting with 2 underscores together, and keep all children of components starting with 2 underscores with the parent. You can, in SketchUp, you can name each component with 2 underscores. Let's say, for instance, let me go back to the model here. I want this stretcher to be grouped together. I can name this one and this one with 2 underscores, and those 2 pieces will be kept together in a group. They'll be placed as close together as they can. That's not really important. I don't have anything named with 2 underscores. Then we have replace the outer boundary for flat jobs only. Create a single boundary for the component, deleting all parts touching the new boundary. Do not use if you have dados or edge features in the data, as they will be lost. I need that boundary. Because while I don't have dados, where is it? Here we go. I have tenons off of each end of each of these stretchers, and I have mortises in the corresponding legs. Same thing up here with these skirts. Same thing with these mullions. I need to keep those tenons and mortises. So we'll go back down here. So I'm not replacing the outer boundary. Now, up here, what data do we want to import? I can import all the visible data in the file, meaning all of the parts. Or only import the visible data on the selected layers. Now there's only one layer, 33 parts. I can come over here and I can, let's say I just want to, excuse me, let's say I just want to import the top skirt, the bottom skirt, and the mullion here. I can group select all four of the legs, hold down Shift, and select the tabletop, right click, hide. They are not visible. Well, I also got all the dowels. I don't know if I want to go through and select all these to hide. We'll just import with, no, let's do this. I'll do it on one. I'm going to hide. I'll do it on this side here. Hide, hide, hide. And I'll group select all of those, spin it around, hold down Shift, and I'll hide all of these as well. So, and I'll group select those, hide. What else have I got here? Man, I got a bunch of stuff to hide. It's all right. You know, you'd think I'd learn to do this before I go live, but what fun would that be? Shift. And hide. So now only this will be imported. Does that include textures then? No, it does not include the texture. VCarve or Aspire will not import the texture. It doesn't care. It will not import the texture. So, I've got everything hidden that I don't want to import. Now I'll go back to VCarve and I'll only import the visible data on that layer. That's all that's going to be imported. And I'm going to click OK. Now there, whoops, no, it imported the whole thing. But look at what it did. There's the tabletop. It took the holes for the mortises and put them over, or the holes for the peg holes and put them over there. There is the, whoops. Come on. I'm looking at it like it's like I can twist it. There's the top stretcher, the two mullions, all four of them actually, the bottom stretchers, and two more top stretchers, and there are my legs. What they're also showing me is where all of, I didn't hit save. Yeah, I didn't hit save. You're absolutely right. Well, I don't need to. I just hit them. Should not have been visible. Oh, that's okay. Oh, no, I know what happened. I started the import. I started the import process before I changed that. Let's go Control Z. And now we're going to go import components. We'll come back down here. I hid stuff. There we go. All right. Import visible data on the selected layer. Okay. And it still imported the whole thing. All right. All right. I thought it would only import what I selected. I was wrong. Okay. So there we have it. I have all my mullions. I have all my skirts. And I have the four legs. Now, again, I'm not going to be cutting these legs on the CNC. So I would probably delete these and cut these by hand. Kimberly is saying, don't you want to explode out the middle section? Everything is here. It did explode out the middle section. Something I don't like, maybe it's something I did in the SketchUp model, is it took all of the peg holes and made them separate objects. Aaron Surgeon, I think you may be right. Move all those onto the onto a new layer. I think you may be right. So let's do that. Let's do that. But my point being is that this is how all of this gets imported. Let's go in here and SketchUp and let's do that. We're going to right click and we're going to, no, I believe I got to go up here now. Tools, oops, or maybe it's window. Man, I'm trying to remember where it is. Tools, no, it's not there. Draw, camera. Where is unhide? Maybe it's in edit. Undo, hide. Unhide all. There we go. Brought them all back. So I can take this one, shift this one, and this one, and let's move them to a new layer. Make component, make group, intersect faces. Dynamic components. God, it's been so long since I've used SketchUp. I don't remember where all this stuff is. How to move to a new layer. Tools. No, it's not there. Edit. Undo. Hide. Man. Make component. Make group. Intersect faces. 3D solid components. Man, I don't remember how to do this. That's okay. This isn't a import, or this isn't a lesson on. See, entity info. Let's bring this up. I have 3 solid components. Layer. It's on layer 0. Man, I can't remember where to make a new layer. It's been so long. Edit. Edges, faces, all that stuff. Let's see here. Shadows. I don't remember. Anyway, yes, you can put things on different layers and then import that layer or not, as the case may be. My point in this whole thing is that to import it into VCarve Pro, layers is on the right side tray. I don't have a right side tray. Let's, unless you're talking about I'm not going to VCarve. No wonder, Mark. Right side tray. I don't have a right side tray. Are they over here in the tools? Nope. We're not. Let's see what here. Position camera. Look around. Section plane. Walk. Gosh, it's been so long. Let's see. Tools. Window. Manage trays. Default tray. Layer scene, shadows, fog, match photos, into instructional outline or show tray. There's the default tray. Yeah, but I don't see where to create a new layer. Well, anyhow. Wait a minute. No. Anyhow. Again, this is not a tutorial on how to use SketchUp. It's about importing into VCarve. My point is, simply put, there are 2 ways of doing it. There is, you can import the entire model. Right-click on the toolbar, and you should be able to add the layer. Right-click on the toolbar. Advanced camera tools. Layers. Holy underwear Batman. Layer 0. And where is adding? Advanced camera pro tools only. I don't see where to add a layer. Anyway. And again, remember, this is 2017. So things have undoubtedly changed. Drawing dynamic compound. Let's see, there's drawing. Not needed. That off. Edit. Nope. Shut that off. It is real easy to put way too many toolbars up here. Standard view, shadow, solid tools, standard. I believe solid tools is where you can, nope, that's not what I was looking for. Solid tools. Dynamic components. Now that's moved that over there. Don't know why it opened there. Component attributes, component options, interact with dynamic components. No, we can shut that off. Anyhow, the point I'm making is it doesn't matter. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and close this file and open a different one. Let's see. Let's open something a little bit more complex here. I'm not going to do that. Let me see. Which do I want to look at here? Which do I want to import? Let's look for the number 72 magazine cabinet. And we'll shoot down here. Where'd it go? 417 magazine cabinet. Why am I not seeing it? Find it. See if there's going to be a problem. Okay, Stickley 72 magazine cabinet. Wow. Wake up. There it is. No, don't save any changes. We're going to go with this here. And it's, again, a similar style. All 100% Craftsman style. But again, we have larger pieces, larger components. If we look at this, for instance, we'll go to Edit Component. Oops. Man, I'm used to using, there we go. I'm used to using Vectric, and I can't, remembering the buttons is a pain. We can see that each of the components, let me go to, no, not to layout. I want to see the window. I want to look at the transparent view. And that is perspective. No. Where is it? There is a transparent view. Okay. Man, it has been so long. View, here we go. Hidden geometry. Section planes of shadow guides. Wow. I can't remember it is. Dwayne, help, Mr. Wizard. There is a way to look at this transparent. It's more or less wireframe. Geometry section, camera, standard views, no. Parallel projection, two-point projection. Man, I should have got into SketchUp more. Paint bucket. Go to the toolbar under Window. Click on the default tray, and you should be able to add layers. Okay. Window. Click on the default tray. Layers. And there we go. There's how to add a layer. Holy cow. Man, thank you. Default tray. This is one of the problems. This is one of the problems. The problem is there are so many options available. It's hard to remember where everything is. And going through this, one by one and figuring everything out, especially if you haven't touched it in a while. I think the last thing I drew, well, I drew my shop in SketchUp when I was still planning for it. And that was 2020 when I started this. So it's been 6 years since I've touched it. And I just don't use it very often because I draw everything in VCarve anymore. Heck, I designed my logo in VCarve. So that'll tell you how far back that went. Okay, so let's do this. Let's add a layer. And we got it here. Okay, there's nothing on that layer just now. We'll just call it layer 1. And what I want to do is let's put this, we'll go to entity info. It's on layer 1 or layer 0. Let's put it on layer 1. And do we have, I don't know, do we have a way to save? I don't think we have a way to save that. Let's go to layer 1. Okay. And we're going to add this to layer 1, and we'll add this to layer 1. Boom. And those are the shelves. So all the shelves have been moved to layer 1. Okay, so I'm going to close the entity info. Or I just closed the wrong one. That's okay. Window, default tray. We've got 3 components in layer 1. So now when I go into VCarve and I come up here to import the bitmap, I'm going to go down here to, that was Stickley 72 magazine cabinet. Open. Oh, I didn't save it. That's why. Let's save it. File. Save a copy as. Delete 2. All right. We'll save that. So now let's open. I know this is dragging on way too long, and I apologize for that. You're watching me remember how to use SketchUp live. Stickley 72 magazine cabinet 2. That's what I'm going to open. I don't want to change the original, so now I'm working in the copy. I go back to VCarve, cancel that, because I want to import the vectors from, and let's go here, Stickley 72 version 2. Open. There we go. I'm not going to import any visible data from layer 0. I'm only going to import the visible data from layer 1. Largest face to the top. Yes, that's what I want. I don't want a gap between the parts. Circles for polygons, yeah. Well, I do want a gap, excuse me, 1 inch. I don't want to group the parts, and I don't want to replace the outer boundary. I don't know if there are any mortises on this, on these shelves. And I'm only going to import layer 1. Okay, and there are my 3 shelves. And, excuse me, there are tenons on each of these shelves. So I've imported only those 3 components. Now I can cut those on the CNC. If I go back into the model here, again, I have 2 layers with different selections, or with different components. Now we're going to Control Z to undo that, and we're going to get into the 3 views. I'll go with import bitmap or vectors. I'm going to go to the original, not the one that I created 2 layers on. I'm going to go to the original magazine cabinet because I have 1 layer. I'm going to import that. Now, instead of an exploded flat layout, I want 3 views. front, top, and side. Again, I don't want to replace the outer boundary. I need to see those mortises and tenons. I don't worry about that because I don't have any. Import all visible data in the file. So again, we're going to get 3 views: front, top, and side. I'll probably have to resize my material after I do that, but that's okay. Now I'll click OK, and there I have 3 views of this cabinet. Let's center this. Ba-boom. And I do need to enlarge my material. I need to make it taller. Let's go with, into job setup, let's go with, for the height, let's go with 96. We'll put it on a full sheet of plywood. We'll click OK. And there I have 3 views. This is the top view. This is the front view. And this is the side view. That will give me a drawing that I can come along and dimension, should I want, to give me an overall height. Well, for instance, here, height, width. I don't need a different height here. I can go with a different width here to show me the depth of the side. And I can also draw get another dimension from this outside edge of this leg to the outside edge of this leg. I can get a height without the top, should I decide to use a different top. So what I'm getting here is I'm getting the 3 views of the completed model. This could be stamped, or excuse me, this could be stapled to the a proposal. For instance, some counties require a form of just a sketch of something that you're proposing building. And believe me, I've built decks. I've built all kinds of things. Now, Rich says, I don't see any hidden lines. The hidden lines are right in here. This is the mortise from this shelf going here. It also shows, excuse me, a tenon, not a mortise. This is a tenon. It's also the outline of the mortise for this side. This shows the tenon into this leg. This shows the tenon into this leg. It also shows the tenon from the skirt. It does show the various components. And again, mortises and tenons. So you're getting the 3 views, and that's a better shot there. You can see that there is the tenon going into the mortise in this leg for this stretcher. So that is pretty much importing. It's going to depend on what you're after. If you want a 2-dimensional vector drawing, vector layout, you can come in and you can see I've done all kinds of things. I used to design camp trailers and various thises and that's. It wasn't all stickly furniture. You can do all kinds of things with this. It's endless. It really is endless what you can do in SketchUp and then import it into VCarve Pro. Aaron Surgeon says, I don't think VCarve will differentiate between the hidden lines. It only imports the vectors. Exactly right. and you can take it from there. You can keep them grouped when you go to import. Let's cancel this. For instance, let's delete all this here. And I'm going to do it again a little bit differently. We'll go back to, what was that, 72, Stickley 72 magazine cabinet. And I am going to group all the parts. Okay? And we'll click OK. And then we will center them up. And now, should I decide to take this stretcher right here, put it into move and transform mode, and drag it down, you see I now have the tenon on the end of the stretcher, and I also have the mortise in the side of the legs. So it did differentiate them. But if I Control Z to put that back together, you can't see the difference. Okay? You can take this and let's see. Let's go up here. I'm not going to bother with that. There's only one stretcher down at the bottom. I'm going to take that, move to a new layer, and we're going to change it to blue. And I don't want it active, I just want it visible. We'll click OK. So now that's on its own layer. Now I can turn off that layer if I don't want to work with that, and now I'm just working with the mortises and the legs. Then I can turn that back on if I want to see that layer, that stretcher. I can make it the active layer, turn everything else off, and now I'm only working with that stretcher. If I want to join this up, which I'm going to need to do. So let's do that. Let's grab this, and I'm going to ungroup it. Okay, and I'm going to turn off layer 0. Wait a minute. Come back here, you varlet. Oh, it ungrouped it back to its original layer. My mistake. No, I don't want to do that. Control Z. I don't want to ungroup that back to its original layer. I want to turn off layer 0, so I'm working with that. I think I can weld it. Let's see if I can weld it. Empty. Okay. So I'll have to go into Node Edit. Tap in. Yes, I want to ungroup it, but I don't want to put it back onto its original layer. Now I want to move it. And I hate doing this. Come out of Node Editing. All right. Now let's move that to layer 2. All right. Now let's shut off layer 0. Okay, now I've got it. Holy cow. Man, weld. There we go. Man. I had to group, or I had to ungroup this, select it all, then move that to the layer. Then I could weld it. So now my main stretcher and each of the tenons is one piece. Now it's ready to cut out. You know, if there's ever going to be a problem, it's going to be when you're live. I look really polished and really smart when it's an edited video. But if there's going to be a problem, like me remembering how to work in a software program, it's going to be when I'm live. My point is that importing from SketchUp is not as difficult as it's made out to be. There are no special file extensions. There are no special file formats. You just save it in the original SketchUp file format, And if you know what you're doing, you put individual components into separate layers, and you can put you can put in SketchUp, you can paint one face of a component as one color, then import that face as facing up. For instance, if you have dados or something, you want that on one face. That needs to be up. So, in part 2, are you going to show how you can directly import a 3D project? I don't think I have any 3D projects that would be suitable for that. Let me see what I got. Like I said, these design camp trailers and various and some other things, decks, guitar parts, custom van interior. I used to design a bunch of stuff. Our old pop-up tent trailer and various parts for that. I don't think I have anything that is suitable for that. I might be able to come up with something, but basically anything like that I have done, it's been for, man, it's been drawn in VCarve or Aspire. I've not done anything. Yeah, I've not done anything like that in. Nope, sure haven't. These are just drawings. They're not complete pieces. So otherwise I could do something like that. Yeah, I don't see anything. Anyway. All right. Now, as far as importing a complete 3D project, I did how to import STL files last week in VCarve or Aspire. Creating an STL, creating a, okay, so maybe a part 2. I'm hesitant to do any files. I'm hesitant to do any SketchUp tutorials, mainly because I'm so rusty with it. I have a deep philosophical problem with presuming to show somebody how to do something I've never done. I've not made any organic 3D models in SketchUp. It's all been components. It's all been basically linear things, decks and shops and things like that. Camp trailers or whatever. If I'm going to do something like that, it's going to be in VCarve or Aspire. Probably Aspire, because you can't create a model in VCarve. Or I'm going to use one of the AI tools. I've not drawn anything like that in SketchUp. Now, what I can do, well, I'm not even going to promise that yet. I need to talk to somebody behind the scenes. Let me work on it behind the scenes, and maybe I can get a guest, and they can walk through how to do that. But it's yeah, it's something I just don't feel. I don't use SketchUp that much, and you can see how I was struggling with it here. So I wouldn't presume to teach you how to do something that I've not done. Was looking for a direct SKP 3D file. This would replace Aspire. They're different softwares. Aspire is for a bas relief model. SketchUp is for components of assemblies. Now, that doesn't mean you can't design a bas relief model in SketchUp. It just means that's way above my pay grade. And rather than learning how to do it in SketchUp, I focused on how to learn to do that in Aspire because I have it. So Yeah. What I would do is I would go over again to Jay Bates's YouTube channel. And again, I'm going to look see if he has a playlist of SketchUp files. If he does, excuse me, SketchUp tutorials. If he does have a playlist, I'll link that in a pinned comment. If he doesn't have a playlist for the SketchUp tutorials, I'll just link his channel and you can scroll back. But you're gonna have to scroll back because he was doing these SketchUp tutorials in 2017, I want to say, maybe 2016. It's been that long ago. So you'll have to scroll back through his videos to find them. But he is excellent with it. Oh, Steve already found it. There's the answer. And put it over there. There's Jay Bates SketchUp playlist. Thank you very much, Steve. Steve on the spot. And I'll link that in a pinned comment as soon as we're done live here. And also remember that because they're older tutorials, some things may have changed. Probably with the interface, but some things may have changed. Just, forewarned is forearmed. I believe Jay was using Google SketchUp version 8. But some things have changed, not the controls, not the keyboard shortcuts. Also, fair warning, Jay is a keyboard shortcut monster. So he will, M to move, G to group, things like that. He is that way. So you'll learn the keyboard shortcuts and it'll help you a lot in your workflow. And a good percentage of his videos, his later videos, are designing projects. His earlier videos are the basics. How to get in, how to use it, what this tool does, what that tool does. But after that, he gets progressively more and more advanced. And it's down to just, that's right, thank you. Component, not group. Different terminology. But you'll learn what that is. You'll learn that when you create a rectangle and then extrude it up 3/4 of an inch, you'll learn to select all of those faces because that's what you've drawn. You've drawn a top, a bottom, a front side, a rear side, a left side, a right side. When you draw that and extrude it up. Now you got to put all those together and make it one piece. That's what creating a component is. And, it's once you get the hang of it, it's fairly easy to use. The problem is, just like anything else, you've got to keep using to stay proficient. You've got to practice with it. And it's the same with VCarve and Aspire. So all I'm getting at is if you have drawn something up in SketchUp, it's easy to import the entire model into VCarve or Aspire and then take it from there. You may not need the entire drawing. You may only need 1 or 2 parts, and you can move those to different layers, as you saw me finally remember how to do. And change colors, change faces, change geometry, decide what geometry you want to import, decide what kind of view you want to import. If you live in a jurisdiction where they need some sort of a measured drawing of, let's say you want to build a deck. They want a measured drawing of what you plan. It's not blueprints, but they want a measured drawing of the deck you plan to build. You can get into SketchUp and draw it up. Separate components, all the pictures there, everything relevant. Then put it into VCarve, get the 3 views, dimension it as you see fit, ship that off to the jurisdiction, and off you go. So, all right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you again, 8 Center, for the idea for this episode. Apologize for not being as good at SketchUp as I thought I was. Like I said, it's Been a long time since I've used it. But this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. I need to know what you want to see. This has never been about me. It's always been about you. If you have a comment, question, concern, if you have a suggestion, something you'd like to see, then please put it in the comments or let me know in the chat while we're live here. I'll write it down. I'll look into it and I'll see if I can't make it happen. I will I will get a hold of a few people and ask them if they feel comfortable coming on as a guest and talking about creating a bas relief or a solid 3D model that they want to import into VCarve. Next week, importing from Rhino. I'm joking. I'm not. Let's go right up here. We're going to zip back out. Going to go there. We're going to turn on all of our layers. And we're going to go up here to a 3D component. We want to import a 3D component. But we're going to look down here. And we're going to look for a 3DM file. There it is right there, 8 center. You can import a Rhino 3DM file as a 3D model. Now, I don't have any in this folder. I don't think I have any at all. I tried Rhino years ago before I got... you know what? Let me look. I want to documents. Stuff. Excuse me. Let me look for a Rhino 3DM file. Do I have a Rhino 3DM file? I was working on a guitar neck once. Oh, I do have some. Okay, let's look at this. A 3DM file of a dust shoe. There we go. All right. So there is a model from a Rhino file, a dust shoe. It's tried it but couldn't get used to it. It's just like importing any other 3D model. Just center model. It's just like importing any other 3D model. Now, I've got that piece going into a full sheet of plywood because of my material size, but you can see that's what that component looks like. So it can be done. So, I tried it but couldn't get used to it. And that's what it is. It's simply, it's practice, just like anything else. Oh, no, you mean you tried Rhino? Yeah, same here. For those that don't know what we're talking about, Rhinoceros is a 3D modeling program, a parametric 3D modeling program. And it, for what I do, it was like taking a push pin and using a 5-pound sledgehammer to put it into cork. It was just more than I needed. And the learning curve is not quite vertical. The learning curve is kind of, almost, let's say 89 degrees. Not a straight up 90. But it is a killer program. And if you really want to get into 3D modeling parts for assemblies, it's the prices have changed. Generally speaking, I hesitate to say it would be less expensive than Fusion. But I believe Rhino is one-time purchase for a license. I don't believe it's an ongoing subscription. I believe it's a one-time purchase. I think they're still on that pricing model. It's a killer program, but it's intense. The community colleges teach courses in it. It's that big. It's, to me, my opinion, and this is not a criticism of Rhino at all, but to me, if you're going to get that hot and heavy into it, I would start looking at something like SolidWorks. college courses in SolidWorks and get your certification that way. Now, if you can't afford SolidWorks, if you are a veteran or a student, you can get SolidWorks real cheap. If you are a veteran in the U.S., served in the U.S. military, you can get SolidWorks for $20 a year. And that's pretty ding-dong good. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. And again, if you have any comments, if you have anything you'd like to see, please let me know. Again, this one came from a suggestion by 8th Center, and I appreciate it. Let me know what you want. Leave them in the comments. Tomorrow, channel members, we're going to talk about some array tools, circular arrays, and arraying on or around a vector. We're going to get into Steve, get Mark's attention. Okay. SolidWorks has a maker license. Okay, I didn't know they did. Still, the point remains, SolidWorks is an industry standard, but believe me when I say you'll need courses on how to use it. Check your local community college. Mine has courses on SolidWorks. Check into it. Check into it. I was not aware that they had a maker license, but SolidWorks can get pretty intense. But if you're thinking about making this a career, SolidWorks is what you want, especially if you're going to go to work for somebody as a CNC designer. So, all right. Again, channel members, we're talking about arrays tomorrow. So check the membership/posts tab on my YouTube channel for the link. Again, we start at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern, and run until you get sick and tired of us. And yeah, that's what we're going to get into. If you don't know what I'm talking about or would like more information on channel membership, right down below this video panel somewhere, I think it's over here, I'm not sure, you'll see the word join. Click on that link. You're not joining anything. You're just getting information because another video is going to pop up and it's going to tell you all about channel membership. We have a great group of members over there. We have a very active WhatsApp group. WhatsApp is not social media. It's a texting platform that you can use on your phone or on a desktop computer. And we've got a very active group over there. It's a great group of people that are all dedicated to helping everybody else succeed. And some killer people making some killer projects. And we have a lot of fun just in general. So that's it for this week. Channel members, I'll see you tomorrow evening. For everybody else, I'll see you next Sunday. What we do is up to you. Let me know what you want to see. So hope everybody had a great Valentine's Day yesterday. Hope everybody survived Friday the 13th unscathed. And it's Sunday. Sit down and relax. Oh, yeah, channel members. Because yesterday was St. Valentine's Day, we're going to do our weekly Zoom BS call tonight. I'm going to shoot for 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 Eastern. Be somewhere around there. So check on the post tab somewhere about 5 minutes before the Zoom call. I'll post a link to it. So just keep an eye open and watch your email notifications. See everybody else next week. Thank you for spending part of your Sunday with me. Have a great rest of your weekend.